Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Map Challenge on Alma, Missouri. Today is October 3rd, and we are still working on fall harvest and all the field work that comes after fall harvest. Yeah, you heard that right. We've still got all of our soybeans to harvest. We're plowing up corn ground. We're spreading lime. It's all hands on deck, and it has been for the entirety of October. And so with that being said, we're just picking right up where we left off. We're going to start today off by harvesting soybeans. We've got 3 fields to go. Todd has been busy plowing up corn ground across the map, and Dalton has been busy spreading the lime as well, but I think he's slowly wrapping that up. We've got a lot to cover in today's episode, and there's even some stuff that I'd like to do that I don't think I've ever done. I'm looking at you, manure spreader. Yeah, that's right. We're starting to get some manure made over here because we have finally put 3 steers in the barn over here, and they are finally giving us some manure we can put out on our fields. So they're in here. We've got straw for them, food for them, but I'll get to this in a little while because for right now, I think it's time to cue this intro, and let's get some fall harvesting done once again, shall we? Alright, so, where were we? You know, it's really hard to cram everything in an intro when you have this much going on, so let's do a little walking around today. We're down here by these very noisy cows. We put these guys in here yesterday, I believe yesterday afternoon or early this morning. We gave them some food. They're just working off of hay right now, and we also put a straw bale or 2 in here. So as you can see, they're slowly producing manure. They've got 10 liters so far, so they're not the quickest at using the bathroom yet, but they are getting there. So yeah, I'm just excited to finally have a natural fertilizer. We're going to be putting this on our fields today, preferably soybean ground, because we are slowly working all of our corn ground away by plowing it under. So the only thing we really have manure to spread on is the soybean fields. So that is more than likely what we're going to be putting that out on, and boy am I excited to try that out. I don't think I've actually ever put manure out on any field on Farming Simulator. This is like the first time, or in the new game, right, in 25. I have not messed with manure or liquid manure or anything like that. So I don't know how it's going to do with precision farming. I guess we're just going to find out. And then like I did say in the intro, we are going to be harvesting soybeans today. All the corn is gone, so we're going to get what's left. But I'm going to continue walking, talking around, so I'll spin back here in just a second, and we'll get to that momentarily. Oh, but before I wander off too far, check out what we went and did. We got something a little bit special on the farm here. I mentioned it in the last episode, but I did not think it would actually come through. We have a twine remover for the skid steer. We sold our wheat, which is where all this money I've got came from, and doing so, we were able to borrow, rent, whatever you want to say, lease. This is not ours. We just are currently borrowing it. It is a Hilco wrap remover, twine remover, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we've been using to put straw bales out, and it works a dream come true. Man, am I jealous and wish I could have bought one of these just to have around the farm, because we're going to have to turn this in a couple months. But how it works is you just hook it up to the skid steer, and then you spear your bale, and these little things right here come down. They've got knives on them, and it just splits the bale open, and you can, dump it with the skid steer and spread it out, and oh man, it makes it so much easier. But in doing so, you can see we used up, I don't even know, about 8 bales or so, I'd say. Or no, just 5. I think just 5 bales to get the cow pen over here full of straw for them to start producing manure. But yeah, I will for sure be getting some footage of that, because man, is that slick. It's so cool to use, and it's really fun too. So yeah, I'll get some footage of that real soon. Just wanted to kind of mention it because never played with this ever, so it's totally new to me. And yeah, there we go. That's the 3rd thing knocked off. And as per usual, augers all set up. We're on the smaller bin now. Like I said, we got the wheat out of here, so this is a totally empty bin. And obviously, in selling the wheat, we brought in $61,000 basically in total, because we were broke. So we didn't hardly have any money in our bank account. So not bad for an early sale. I know it could have been better since we had like 100,000 liters, but I will take it. And then obviously these two bins are slap full of corn, both of them. If you missed the last episode, just trying to catch you guys up, just showing off what's going on the farm. And then also real quick, how could I forget over here? This tractor is currently in testing, and there's updates being put out for it, to add new stuff because it's not out to the public yet. So, and so for this tractor, there was an update that was just recently put out that added a bunch of new stuff. And I finally got it up to date, and because we've got it up to date, it now has Goodyear tires on it, which, by the way, look so much better. They're bigger. I don't know, just bragging on this tractor. It looks a whole lot better, apart from minor fixes and stuff, so this tractor is looking a whole lot better than it did beforehand. And then we took the front duals off to cart with because those front duals were kind of running over the auger. So we'll throw those on later if we need to, but I didn't really think we needed to after having them on there. This tractor's pretty powerful enough with the equipment size we're working with. So just figured I'd mention it, that we updated this tractor, because I'm sure a lot of you guys would be a little confused if you saw it didn't have duals on it anymore and totally new tires, because a lot of you are a lot more observant than I am. So alright, I think we covered everything. Man, that was a lot quicker than I expected we'd cover everything. What now? Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's right, soybeans. How could I forget? Let's just hop right in the combine. Let's get it fired up. Let's get right to it. Alright, so a little bit about this field, which I find interesting. We have never had soybeans on this field. So, I'm a little curious to see how the yield is going to be. This field right here has had the strangest backstory so far on the On the Map challenge, because it was originally a hay field that was turned into corn this past year, and now it's soybeans. So, I'm a little curious to see just how many bushels to the acre we're going to get or whatever. It's not going to be a whole lot, but yeah, so far we're in the orange, so it's a good 80-75%. And also something else, the rain that was supposed to be here has been pushed back another day, so November is going to be a washout, because I know I was talking about that in the last 2 episodes now. That is still coming. That has not changed at all. It's still very much on the way, but it's just been pushed back a day. So we're going to try our best and get all these soybeans up, which we have not been very productive at because it's 1 o'clock and we're just now starting to harvest. So, which I guess I can't say too much because I have been busy. I was helping them with tillage and was loading lime for Dalton because he was running out a lot. So I'm just glad we've got a place to put it now that's going to be dry, now that we've got all the wheat out of that bin. I was stressing to find a place to put all these soybeans at. But yeah, the yield is looking a little better down here in this corner of the field, so I'll shut that off. We'll look at it as we get closer to being done. But so far so good. The header seems to be doing a great job with soybeans, because this is the first time running this header on anything but the wheat we had. So this is a drier, tougher crop this year. Hopefully it won't be too much wear and tear on the cutter bar. So I do actually have some unfortunate news to share with you guys that I just recently discovered, and it's not very great. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sure there is a workaround, but for right now I have no clue what I'm gonna do. And the problem is, I don't think we're gonna be able to do double crop soybeans in year 4. The crop calendar is, for whatever reason, totally different now than what it was before the map update. So the map author put out a post a while back. I remember reading it, but he made a post saying that he was going to change the crop calendar in the new map update so that double crop soybeans would be possible, right? Where you could, overlap wheat harvest with soybean planting. Well, for whatever reason, he has switched it around so that you can only plant wheat in September. Which makes no sense, because if you do it like you're supposed to plant wheat and then the soybeans, after a corn crop. But corn, you can't even harvest until October. So unless you just do multiple years of wheat, soybeans, it's not possible to double crop. Which, man, that absolutely sucks, because before the map update, it was working perfectly fine. You guys saw it this past year. That was before the map update, and everything was working exactly like it should have. I don't understand. So he was trying to make a solution for the problem and then ended up just making it a problem, at least for me. Now, I could have done something to the crop calendar, but I have not touched it at all unless I did something without realizing it. So if any of you guys have a answer to that problem, please let me know in the comments, because the only way I saw we could work around it was plant wheat in March. So have an really early spring wheat, and then let it grow until, I think it was July, and then plant soybeans in July. So instead of, drilling it in the fall, we would just drill it in March right before we planted corn and stuff, which honestly that could very well work. So look at that, all hope is not lost, but man, I'm pretty upset. I got the drill out and got it loaded with seed and all that and brought it out to the first field. I was going to follow right behind Todd with the plow because I noticed we didn't have a whole lot of time to drill the wheat, and it said this crop cannot be planted in October, and I was like, what in the world? So I opened the crop calendar, and yeah, sure enough, it does not align, which actually I'll just show you right now. So check this out. Down here, wheat, you can harvest it in August and September, and then also June, but you can only plant it in September and in March and April. Come up here to soybeans. Where are soybeans at? Right here. You can plant soybeans in April, May, June, July, and you can harvest them in October, November. So see, that lines up with June, harvesting the wheat in June and planting soybeans in June. So now that seems fine, which it is, but here's where the problem starts. If we do like we did this year, where we have a field of corn that we want to plant wheat on to do double crop soybeans, let's just come up here to the wheat. All right, look at this. So come right here to harvest ready October and November, which means we have just totally skipped the September planting season, which makes no sense. So yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's a workaround with doing it in March because I think that lines up pretty decent. If not, we're just going to have some fields of wheat, some fields of soybeans, some fields of corn, and not doing 2 crops per year, which that 2 crops per year is really helping us out right now with like straw and the extra cash. So I mean, yeah, I'm not totally sure. Like I said, if you guys have an answer, help me out in the comments. This is turning into a regular thing where I'm needing help because stuff gets broken, but this time I don't think it's my fault. I would hope not anyway. I don't think I did anything, but I haven't seen anybody talking about this, so I don't know if it is just me or not. But yeah, anywho, enough about that. I'll figure out a solution, or you guys will help me either way. You always tend to. So yeah, we'll worry about that later. Right now, let's get this combine unloaded into the first bin. Let's take a look at how much we have here. We've got 8,000 liters, and actually I'm going to hop out and position the tractor a little closer to the auger, and then we'll just dump straight into the wagon, straight into the auger. So let's see how much easier this is going to be. This should be a world of difference. Get the auger running as well, and there we go, putting it in the bin. So there's the first 8,000 liters. I'm not totally sure how many bushels we're going to get out of, soybean harvest, or well, liters, whatever, but it honestly more than likely won't be a whole lot. I mean, I'm just gonna guess 80 to 100,000 liters. If we pass that, I'll be pretty happy. But so far I haven't seen the best yields, which I guess that would make a little bit of sense. Alright, we are slowly working our way through this field. Got all the headlands done, and I was trying to clean up this part of the field right here. Now I got the GPS set back up, and we are blowing this field out of the water. One thing I am noticing is we are not bringing in a whole lot of yield. I mean, that was expected, I guess, because look at the field. We are in the we were in like the 65%, or wait a minute, no, that's not right. We were in the 75 majority of this field right in here. So yeah, not great, not what it could be. I'm just hoping those other 2 fields will bring in a whole lot more after all the work we did to them with the wheat being on there beforehand, and then the fertilizer and getting the pH levels right, all that. We did a good bit of work to those fields, so I think they will be giving us a whole lot better bushel per acre than this field, because this is some bad yield. This is not what you want to see. And also I'm sure the little spots of hail damage and weeds and all that's not really helping anything. So yeah, we're just going to hurry up and wrap this field up and get on down to the next one, I'd say. And hey, you know what? While I am working on this field, I want to bring up something else real quick, just to kind of think about, because whenever I bring something up like this, it usually does happen or never happens. It's 50-50. There's no in between. So a lot of these little fields around the farm, I'd kind of like to combine. Particularly this one right here would be interesting, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws, but I will show you guys the fields I'd like to combine down the dirt path that way. In the bottoms, there's fields down that way, but just say this one right here we're working on. If we knocked out this tree line right in front of me and combined this field with, what number is that, 35, 31, something like that? Or no, I think it's 35. That would be a weird looking field, but it would be a whole lot bigger, and we could, connect them, make them one crop. So I don't know, I was thinking about that. And then that little field that we've got down here that we've been getting hay off of, I kind of like to knock out the tree lines all the way around it and combine it with those 2 fields that are, down there. I'll show you guys that as we get there. But yeah, there's a lot of potential to combine fields. The only thing that begs the question is, should we rent or purchase like a backhoe or bigger skid steer bulldozer or something like that we can like just get rid of a bunch of tree lines with? Maybe even like a mulch head or something for the skid steer. Maybe not a bigger skid steer, but just some kind of forestry equipment, something like that that can knock out a bunch of trees real quick. Or we could do it by chainsaw, but that is a lot of sawing. So I don't know. Just I'm gonna leave that one up in the air. Speaking of tree lines, actually, we could combine, or not combine, just extend this field out a little closer to the trees. I've noticed a few of our fields have like shrunk since the map update. I don't know why that is. Whether the field edge actually was increased or the tree line was pushed back or something. I don't know what the deal is, but we're gonna have to go in there and kind of fix a lot of the mistakes like that after the update. But you know what? We might be able to get all of this filled in the same grain tank because we are not filling up fast whatsoever. So I don't think I'm gonna unload yet. I'm just gonna spin around and we'll grab the rest of the field. Alright, something about like that. Set the head back down. And so you know what, when springtime rolls around, I think I'm going to plow this field up and we're going to put corn back on it, which will set the scenes for a crop rotation that will work with double cropping next year, or the year after next. So corn's going on this in year 4, and then in year 5 it'll be wheat and soybeans. Whole double crop action. At least that's the hope anyway. And I don't think the yield potential is like amazing on this field anyway, so whatever we do to this field, it won't reflect the yield entirely, because some fields when you buy them they just happen to have bad yield, and that's the case with this one. So we'll try a different crop rotation. We'll put some more fertilizer out, try to get the nitrogen count up, get some more lime spread, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I must say, field number 1 has not impressed me very much at all. Also, now I think it would be a pretty good time to check out the new custom texture I threw in here for soybeans. Seems like I've had a new texture in here for soybeans every single time we harvest the crop. So for the first year we owned this farm, it was the base game texture, which I was not a big fan of. And then last year I gave it proper 30-inch spacing because it was on like 15.5 or something. It was like really weird, or even less than that. So I gave it 30-inch spacing, changed the color up a little bit. Now this year we have changed the chaff color up again, and it spreads it out a little farther. There's stubble destruction on this little, there's hardly even any stubble, but you can see where the tires do drive over, it crushes it a little bit. And then the crop itself should be a little like gray, I was gonna say more gray, less gray, more brown, a little darker, but somehow we are full before I thought we would be. So let's go dump real quick. We'll come back out here and wrap up the, 2 feet of beans we've got left. I mean, so far we've got 20,000 liters of soybeans, so I mean that's not actually that bad. Also, I just now noticed that the time scale was on 15. I don't know how in the world that slipped past me. I somehow didn't notice it was getting very dark pretty quickly, so you know what, let's actually slow it down to 1 time so I can have a little downtime to catch back up. We lost like 3 hours. I don't know how in the world I did not catch that. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, another silly mistake by me. So yeah, we're going to slow that down to give me a little time to catch back up. But in the meantime, there's that field all done. And actually, I was going to put the head on the header cart, but let's go down the dirt path here and we'll just start the next one, which is right down here. I will have to run up and grab the wagon tractor, or the 8320, because both Todd and Dalton are gone from the farm right now. I was wrong. Todd has been plowing, and then Dalton is still spreading lime out. He's at the top part of the map. So we are working all by myself here. Alright, bringing the tractor down here real quick. I think while I'm in the cab I should mention that with this new update to the tractor we have a sprayer monitor in here, as well as a planting monitor for the planter. So that's a cool addition. I figured I'd mention that. We finally got a second monitor for here, as well as the green star that has been in the tractor. So this thing is now fully loaded out with new tires, new equipment, new everything. So yeah, we'll hop out of here, jump back in the combine, and we'll get started on the second field. Alright, we got the GPS set up. Let's make sure the yield is doing alright. And once again, it's in the yellowish, so I don't know if that's just how it's supposed to be. I really don't. I don't know if soybeans are really just that bad with the yield, or if we did something wrong, but this field's doing the same thing, and it wasn't this bad with wheat. Oh, never mind. There we go. Here comes the soybeans in. Yeah, this right here is a whole lot better yield. This is looking better. Okay, maybe it's not all that bad then, because this is, oh man, this right here is in the 120%. This is the maximum yield, I think. Look how dark green it is. Oh, and yeah, we are bringing in the soybeans. Oh, I hope it stays like this. Don't ever leave green yield. I'm so sick of having 70%, 80% when we harvest soybeans. I've just been wanting a bunch of bushels whenever we harvest soybeans. So bad. Oh, and there it goes back down to a lighter color, which That's still in the 90% area, so that's still bringing in a good bit. Yeah, and actually I've got a pretty good idea. I think while we finish up harvesting this field and maybe even the next one, let's throw on a little time lapse while we harvest real quick, get this all wrapped up, because we haven't done a time lapse in a few episodes, and it's really been a long time since we've done a harvesting time lapse, or at least I think so. So yeah, right now is the perfect time to do it. So with all that being said, I'll see you guys whenever we get this field done. We might as well just go on to the next one. So I don't know if I'll throw that in there or not. But as for this field, let's get it knocked out and I'll catch you guys in. Well, here we go. We are finished with harvest and we are now working on tillage. This is field number, I want to say 7. We are slowly but surely knocking it out, and we've only got this one and one more to go, and we're done with chiseling as well. So we are making decent progress. You saw most of the soybean harvest. I did do one field off camera, but the one closest to the farm, or actually the 2 fields closest to the farm right there, you all saw done on camera, and everything from those fields is in the bin. And I think we brought in close to 100,000 liters of soybeans, or maybe a little over, something like that. So we did pretty decent for 3 fields, especially with how the yields were in 2 of the fields. And actually that field number 31 or whatever it is, the one that's kind of close to the farm, is down there in the bottoms, not the one that's right at the farm. That field actually did pretty dang good. We brought in a couple wagon loads worth, maybe 40,000 liters, I want to say. Well, here, while that's running, we can just take a look here. And oh, by the way, the field, or the environmental score, is at 80 now, so nothing to complain about there. And I didn't realize it. Each field shows you what the score is. So you can see what fields have better score and what has worse score, that sort of thing. And you can see these fields of soybeans actually did pretty dang good. So let's take a look at the yield. Yeah, look at all that green. Now compare that to field 35 right here, which was not no good, and then field 31. Yeah, whole world of difference. And then field 28 was a mix of decent and okay, and then some spots are good as well. So not bad overall, really not that bad. So you can see outside it's already starting to cloud up. There's rain supposed to start tonight, and then it's not going to stop until December 1st. So I'm kind of happy that we don't have too much going on anymore, because this should be the last of everything we've got to do before winter rolls around. But you know, there are a few odd jobs, but for the most part, when it comes to like harvest and major tillage I wanted to get done, we are completely past that point. So that's what I wanted to get done for sure. And you guys know how this thing goes. Up next, we'll be selling our corn. And speaking of selling corn, let's do another little year in review, or maybe not year in review, but just something I'd like to pick up this winter whenever we do a little buying season. The first thing is obviously fields. I've talked about this plenty of times in the past, so you guys should get the gist. Acreage is obviously the number one thing in my mind, is doubling our acres or adding on to our acres. And I've got 3 or 4 fields that I'd look at buying right now, and they're all awesome fields. They're all, or most of them, we never actually did anything with in Farm Sim 22. So I'm trying to buy new fields that you guys are unfamiliar with on this channel and work in those fields, which, I mean, that seems pretty interesting to me as well. So yeah, don't worry, I've got the whole fields thing covered. I've got some I think you guys are going to like a whole lot. Now next up, semi, truck, and trailer. I've talked about this in a few videos. I think we've got the green light for a semi, truck, and trailer. I think we're going to go for it. The only difference is I want to pick one up a little early so that we can have it for when we sell our grain. Now we've got 49,000 right now, and there's a deal for an international truck that I saw. There was an international and a Freightliner that I saw that had really good, like low hours, low miles, whatever, and then the price was like dirt cheap. And then I'm still looking for a trailer, but for the most part, I think I've got the semi-truck set up that I want to go for. I mean, we should be able to buy it at around $50,000, so all of our money will be chipped into it that we've got right now. And you know, we might have to sell a few cows or some corn early or something to get to that point, but I don't want to wait and have it sitting over winter. I'd like to go ahead and buy it and use it to ship out all of our grain. So yep, that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be a bigger field cultivator and maybe a bigger tillage piece, because we've been working with this chisel plow right here. It does a good job, but I would like something a little bigger, maybe a couple feet bigger. 10 feet bigger is max I want to go, because we don't really have super powerful tractors to pull that big of equipment yet. Maybe the 8320, but I don't know, not really. So I'd like to stay in a smaller tillage range, and I mean, it just starts to get super expensive. So maybe a bigger chisel plow, or whatever it's called, like a V-till or inline ripper. I can't think of the actual term for it, but maybe one of those, and then for sure a bigger field cultivator. So we've got that disc right now, that international disc. It's honestly a piece of junk. After using it for a couple of years, it's been tearing up on us. I mean, it finishes the field out, like it does decent. It does a good job, but it's been tearing up on us, and it's going to cost more to keep fixing it rather than keep it. So we're going to sell it and get something new. and I would like a little like a field cultivator that has like shovels and sweeps rather than just the harrows. So I don't know, I'm switching it up, going to try something a little different because that should help out with just like shallow cultivation. It's supposed to help the yield anyway. So, and then also while we're on the topic of buying something new rather than constantly replacing it, this might come as a shock to a lot of you, but something I'm seriously thinking about upgrading in the next year is a daily driver. Yes, you guys heard that right. I'm thinking the Ford pickup is going to be sitting in a shed in a couple months because there has been some serious transmission problems in the last couple days with it, and I think it's going to cost more to fix than the truck is even worth money-wise. I love that F-250, but I don't know. I'd like something new that can pull a gooseneck, and that truck we've got right now honestly struggles pulling that cattle trailer. So it's not a bad idea to go ahead and get something bigger that can, pull a 25, 30-foot gooseneck, maybe even a 45-foot gooseneck for hauling a lot of bales out or something like that, because I'm tired of using that little wagon we've got. I'd like to have something that can actually haul a bunch of bales out of the field. So that's another thing. I mean, that's not 100% necessary, but it's worth looking into, right? Is a new truck. Now, we could fix it up, but I've also had a lot of comments saying that I should get a new truck. So, hey, I've got some stuff planned for a pickup truck as well as a semi truck. I've got a lot going on. And then obviously the farm auction is going to continue out this year. We're going to be selling off some of our stuff that we don't want anymore. First thing I immediately think of is the J&M wagons are probably going to be leaving, or sorry, just the J&M wagon. The Parkers are probably going to be staying. We don't have two J&M wagons, but that is more than likely going to be leaving because we're going to be replacing it with a semi, which holds about double what that one wagon will hold. So it's a good investment. And if I haven't already explained this to you guys, the semi truck and trailer combination is like half as cheap as two wagons, because I can get a truck and a semi trailer, like a 42-foot hopper bottom, for as much as a single wagon. That is ridiculous. Well, I mean, obviously that may vary, but the trucks that I've been looking at, the truck and the trailer combination are as cheap, or well, they're the same price as the wagon, if that makes sense. Kind of jumbling over my words there, but yeah, no kidding either. That's for real. So yeah, land, bigger equipment, bigger plow, bigger cultivator, maybe a new truck, and then this is for sure a maybe because I haven't really thought this through yet, and we might even wait until summer to do this, but possibly a new disc bind, little bit bigger disc bind. The baler, tedder, rake, all that's still good for a couple more years. We don't really need to go up in that considering how little hay ground we work right now. So we can hold off on that. But everything else I mentioned needs to happen because we are slowly starting to upgrade our row crop, acreage, whatever you want to call it, operation. Oh man, and how could I forget the biggest topic on this list? I just blew right past it. Sorry about that. New combine. Well, actually, hold on. Let me rephrase that because some of you may take that out of context. No, we are not getting a new combine. We're getting a second combine. This has been discussed on the farm for quite a while. We're going to pick up a second combine so that we can have two running in the field. It'll make harvest a whole lot faster, less pressure on us, and more than likely, I've got some guys lined up that are going to work on the farm this coming winter into next year, so we will have 4 to 5 farm hands, and we will have plenty of help to be able to run 2 combines. Something else that'll bring me to my next topic, and wagons, trucks, plows, all that stuff. We're going to have a full-blown operation going in year 4. So don't worry. The second combine thing is not just a fraud. Like, we're actually going to be able to have people running that, and it won't just be sitting dormant. We're going to get it up and running. So that's the plan anyway. We will see how that works. Yeah, like I was saying a while ago, bringing me into my next topic is a auger wagon. Right? If we're going to have 2 combines, we got to have somebody and something to keep up with those combines in the field and unload them on the go. And what better way to do it than with an auger wagon? We're going to find one, pick one up, more than likely this coming summer, so we'll just wait, spend that money when we have it, because I know I've mentioned a lot of expensive sounding stuff. To be honest with you, we may not spend more than 150 grand on equipment upgrades, and then the other 400 grand or however much we're going to make this year off of corn, which is going to be a crap load of corn money, that'll all go to fields. So don't worry, we're not slacking on the acres. I just want to get some equipment upgrades set in, because if we don't, then we're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities for upgrades throughout the year. Trust me, I have seen it firsthand. So, I mean, you can kind of balance it, and obviously I've had some people say, well, you might need to worry about land more. To be honest with you, I'm not as worried about land as I should be because we're honestly kind of knocking this out of the water. I mean, we've already got a good couple fields in year 3, more than I can handle honestly right now. We're trying to push against the clock, so don't worry, I'm not going to do like I did in the last on the map challenge, just blow all my money on equipment. I'd like to have a happy medium, and I think I'm trying to find that. So obviously this will be the last thing I say on it, and then I'll just surprise you guys with what I get. Just kind of want to give you the basis of, you know, what could happen. I mean, that's the stuff I want to look at buying. So some stuff may get bought in the wintertime, some stuff may get bought later into the summer. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, a second bin or another bin. I want to put up another bin sometime this year, next year, whenever we get to it. When we get money, I want to look at putting one up, specifically a bigger bin. I don't want a 4 or 5 ring. I want like a 7 ring bin, and then that should, if I'm hopefully not missing anything now, should conclude everything I'd like to look at upgrading. And then, you know, maybe I could throw in there the whole thing with the feedlot, finishing barn. I was trying to think of whatever to call it. Either one of those will work. It doesn't really matter what you guys call it. I consider it either it's a feedlot, you know, it's a finishing shed. We've got calves we could work in there. You see what I mean. One thing, I got a comment from somebody saying that I could use that as like a weaning shed. Now that's a pretty good idea. Whenever calves are born, and we wean them, we put them in there, and that'll give us manure as well. So not a bad idea. But something I have noticed here recently is that the trigger to load animals into the barn is not working anymore. I can no longer move animals into that feedlot. The trigger is just like gone. And whenever I back up to it, like with a trailer, I can't interact with it. But when I'm on foot, I can buy animals. I just can't move them into the pasture. So to be honest with you, what we might do is just buy a bunch of calves and throw them in there and fatten them up, keep them in there for a while, and then sell them. Something like that. I don't really know. I'm going to have to figure it out. But right now it's not looking too hopeful with the trigger not working, because then we won't be able to move cows from the pasture to the finishing barn. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Don't worry. I'm sure I might have screwed something up, but you're all starting to hear this a lot, right? I tend to mess up a lot of stuff on this series. Oh, and actually, one last thing before I totally forget about it. We do not have enough manure to spread right now. I know I said in the intro we would have enough manure to put out on our fields, but I severely underestimated the amount that was getting put out. So I have a plan. We're going to let it sit dormant in the barn over winter. We're going to keep cleaning it out, you know, make a pile, and in the span of, I don't know, maybe 5 months or so, whenever we get out there and start doing field prep, we'll put some manure out before we, you know, cultivate the fields, whatever, and hopefully that'll help the yield for next year, because right now we've only got like 300 liters in a couple days, so that's not really what you'd want to see. So we're going to let that build over time, and we'll be able to put a bunch of it out in the springtime, so don't worry. I just wanted to let you guys know we will not be doing any manure in this video, sadly. I was hyping it up and then, you know, dropped the bomb. So, but it's alright. We were going to have plenty of acres to spread it on next year, so look forward to that. And here, I'll tell you what, we are kind of knocking this out of the ballpark. We are seriously running along decently. I kind of lied earlier about saying we couldn't go up in size with another chisel plow because the tractor wouldn't pull it. Heck, this thing's pulling this at 7 miles an hour. No worry at all, no struggle. And once again, we are doing the skip rows. I have found it's the best way ever to do tillage with something like this. It works very well. So we'll finish the first skip rows out with a little in-cab action, I'd say. We'll pick up and go again. And now we can start working around the field a little bit because we are kind of getting close to the edge here. And you know what? We'll even come down here and clean up this end of the field as well. We might as well make a few passes around the field as long as we don't turn too sharp. We should be able to move along just fine, and then we'll come back down the field and clean up the skip rows. That's usually how we do this. I mean, the order doesn't matter too much, but we might need to pick up here. Yeah, it's not wanting to turn. Or wait a minute, no, it is. No, okay, we need to pick up. It was going off course. These chisel plows and stuff, they give you a little bit of lenience to turn, but whenever it's, you know, past the point of no return, it kind of gets a little hard to turn. So, all right, there we go. That should be better. And we got the GPS line set up now too. A little bit of an awkward corner, but hey, it looks all right. Chisel plow is still doing a great job, and we have not hit any big rocks or anything so far. So far so good. And other than it being cloudy, it is still a very decently warm 61 degrees out today. It is November 1st now. I didn't know if I mentioned that or not. I think it was the 3rd of October yesterday, or last time I spoke with you guys. It's a different day recording, so I can't really remember, but yeah, it is a decent temperature to be November 1st, if you ask me, a little warmer than usual, so don't know what that's to say about the upcoming winter, but maybe we won't get as much snow. Who's to say? One thing I am for sure glad is that we have not invested in a snowblower yet because we have not had a need for it. So hopefully, me saying that doesn't mean we will have to this year. Also, I was gearing up. We might even have to go a little faster. With this chisel plow, I've noticed we can go a little faster. There we go. We were running like 6.8, now we're going 7.3 or something like that. You can see we're going a little faster. But yeah, anyway, we have not had to invest in a snowblower because we haven't had any snow, but maybe this year's the turning point, right? Maybe we'll get a lot of snow this year. Hopefully not is what I need to be saying, because blowing all that snow gets a little aggravating, but I have never messed with moving snow in 25 at all yet, so hey, maybe that'll be some interesting content. I don't know for sure. Alright, we're at the top of the field now. We'll finish this part out. Alright, now we'll get our GPS line set back up. We'll start working on these rows we skipped over. We'll just start down here since we made a loop around the field. This is where we ended up at, and then we will end on that part of the field to the right of me, and we'll come back up, clean up the corners, and then we'll be out of here and on down to the next one. So yeah, won't take us much longer and we'll be out of this field. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking about doing the rest of this one off camera and catching you guys whenever we are about to be done with the next one, so you can get a little bit of an idea of how many fields we're working on today and where the next one is. It's field number 20 up there by the Alma, Missouri sign. So yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of footage from both of them. So I will catch you guys in a little while. Shouldn't take me too long, like I said, maybe an hour or so. So yeah, I will see you in the next field. Alright, you guys, we're wrapping this up here, and well, we're trying to wrap this up quickly because it has started raining on us a little sooner than I thought it would, but as you can see, we're just about done with this field. This is the last field we're doing tillage on, and we're going to pack up and head back to the farm. So I got the last one done, and we just came right down the road here. We've practically got this one finished out as well, so it's been a pretty fun and honestly long harvest season. I'm kind of glad it's over, ready for winter, a little bit of a break, and then the planting season that's going to come after. So I'm also excited to try out the new equipment and everything we buy. So yeah, I'm a little sad it's ending, but I'm also happy it's over. You know that feeling. But it's not leaving without a good impact, because we brought in not only a lot of crop, but this year has been kind of a breakthrough year for a lot of our yields. This is the first year we've seemed to get everything really decent, other than the soybean fields, which obviously need a little work for good reason. But if that makes sense, whenever we bought the farm, bought all these fields in year 1 and 2, the ones that we are farming right now, the yield was kind of poor because of how it was whenever we bought it, and we've had to slowly work the soil over time and get it to where it is now. And so year 3 harvest was kind of the first year where the soils are starting to look really, really good. So that's the main takeaway, I would say, obviously, other than the 400,000 liters of corn, 100,000 liters of soybean, all that stuff. So we've got a lot to get to selling in the wintertime, obviously, but right now we're going to take it kind of easy, do a couple chores around the farm for the last of this month. You can tell it's starting to get a little bit muddy out here, so we need to try and hurry up and get out of the field as fast as we can. I really don't want to get stuck. It really has just started raining on us too, so not even 10 minutes ago it was still kind of sunny, which I guess it kind of is. The clouds are just hiding it. So yep, that front is slowly moving in. This is the first part of it, so we are experiencing the rain right now. And honestly, that kind of leads me into point number 2. I don't really know what in the world we're going to be able to do for the rest of November, but we're going to try to stay busy at least. And then the first chance of snow is already on November 3rd, I think. So it's gonna temperature's gonna start dropping, and then obviously as we get farther into December, January, we'll have a couple more chances for snow. And actually, I think the way the weather forecast is looking right now, the outlook is that December will be a very wet winter, like I was calling for, or like I said they would be calling for, and sure enough, that has stayed the same. So yeah, that could mean lots of snow, lots of ice, a lot of closed roads, all that stuff. It's a good day to be close to the town, ain't that right? Whenever we need something from the store or selling our grain, we don't have to drive a couple 100 miles just to do that. So if roads are closed, well, we're in luck. Okay, maybe not a couple 100 miles, but when we have to drive across town, it does help that we're right there instead of driving a good ways, because the county doesn't really like to clean out roads, so we'd have to drive through all that snow. But I guess if we were to make a chore list to slap on the kitchen counter, Just some stuff that we for sure probably need to do. First thing that instantly comes to my mind is get those straw bales out of that field and move them to the farm. I think we've got enough room now as we're starting to use up the straw bales. We're going to need them at the farm, so that could be priority number one. Number two is get the combine and the implements, equipment, stuff that needs it, get it in the shop and start winter maintenance for next year already, because getting ahead of ourselves will help us out in the long run for sure. And I have a feeling we're going to spend a ton of money this year on winter maintenance, so it would help to go ahead and start putting towards that. But as of right now, that's about all I got. I don't really know what else I could start listing off, but we're going to head back to the farm now. Got all those fields done, and I feel like a very accomplished man right now. We've got lime spread, harvest is done. First stage of tillage is done. Like I said, we'll come back in the springtime and hit all these fields with a field cultivator. That is more than likely what we're going to have to do every year, because we are really pushing it with how much time we've got on our hands with these 3-day seasons. So, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I even found a little bit of time to cut the grass yesterday, so I'm doing pretty well. The main reason being I didn't want the grass to be too tall whenever we got some snow. So now when we go out and start sledding in the snow in the front yard, oh, it's going to be slick and it's going to be a good time. So, but who am I kidding? Oh well, I guess some things never change around Alma. Even in the rain, people still love to pass you when you're in a tractor, even with your flashers on. So hey, what in the world? But anyways, you guys, I think that's all I've got for you today. I'm going to end this one here. This feels like a little bit of a shorter episode than usual. I have not started editing yet, but just kind of wanted to get another one out quicker than usual. This is like 2 in a week now, so I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to start working on the next episode already. I'm super excited for that. Winter grain selling. This is going to be a good year for bringing in cash, and when we get to set up year 4, man, it's going to be awesome. So totally looking forward to that. But I guess these little episodes of just doing chores, I mean, they don't hurt too much, I don't think. It's pretty fun making them. So I'm also going to take a moment to thank you guys for all the support on the channel. I can never say it enough, and I hardly ever do in my videos, but I seriously do mean it. But yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.